guys, let's go to the next chapter, okay? Remember, our baby dragon has set off along the way. He had a little bit of trouble when he had to take a rest, and he hid in that culvert, which is that circular thing underneath the bridge, right? Do you remember who helped him hide? Do you remember who's looking for him? Do you remember why he doesn't want to get caught? What did they say would happen to him? What did he say would happen to him? All right, the Dragons of Blue Land, Chapter 3, The Men on the Slope. It's a lovely night for flying, thought the dragon as he hurried toward the north, urged on by cool, brisk winds. The rain had stopped long ago, and a crescent moon shone plainly. Looking down, he could see the outline of Seaweed Bay, and then a point of land called Due East Lookout. At this point, he must turn and fly directly westward over Seaweed City, across Spiky Mountain Range, and over the awful desert to reach the mountains of Blue Land in the heart of the desert. Many people had tried to cross that desert and climb these mountains, but there was no water, and treacherous sandstorms raged all year, making traveling almost impossible. So far, no man had ever succeeded. It won't be long now, sang the baby dragon as he passed over Seaweed City, over the coastal Spiky Mountain Range, and then started over awful desert beyond. What a lovely night, he thought again, and then all of a sudden he realized how clear it was over the desert. Where are the sandstorms? Where are the sandstorms? A sick feeling came over him. In weather like this, a man might be able to cross the desert to get to Blue Land. He might see one of the dragon families and learn the dragon secret, that dragons do still live in Blue Land. Faster and faster he flew, and way up ahead he saw a tiny light where the mountains rose straight up out of the desert. Men, he thought. If only I'm in time to warn my family. Onward he sped until he could see that the light was a blaze of a campfire on the rocky mountain slope. He counted 4 or 5 men sitting around a campfire. I'd better find out what they're planning to do so I'll know how to save my family, thought the dragon, circling down the landing below the men. He carefully picked his way through the huge rocks on the slope, and he hid close enough to hear what the men were saying. Well, if Frank and Albert and the rest of the men don't find water soon, we're sunk. We'll have to get back pretty quick, and what if that weather changes? After all, this is the first time so far as anybody knows that the weather has ever been clear over the desert, and I don't trust it for very long. Me neither, said another voice. Just then, they heard a shout farther up the slope, and a man came running down toward the fire. Did you find water? They asked him. Water! Loads of it! The mountains form a circle, and all the streams from these mountains flow towards the center to make a tremendous lake. But that's not all I found. You mean you found evidence that the great dragons of Blue Land actually did exist at one time? Evidence, said the man who had run down the slope. Evidence? Why, we've got 15 of the most beautiful dragons you've ever dreamed of, trapped in a cave that seems to only have one entrance. The rest of the men are guarding it. 15 trapped in a cave? Oh, this is the baby dragon. I made the wrong voice. 15 trapped in a cave, moaned the baby dragon. Why, that's my whole family. I have 6 sisters and 7 brothers, my dear gigantic mother and my dear gigantic father. I'm the only one left out here to save them. But why didn't they fly away? He listened to the men again. How do you know there are 15 in a cave? We took them by surprise. They were asleep at the entrance, and when they saw us, they rushed inside. Oh, what a sight it was. 15 dragons, one of the men whistled. What did they look like? They went so fast it was hard to see, but there was one huge blue one, one big yellow one, about 5 small green ones, and the rest were all blue and yellow. They had red horns and feet and gold-colored wings. I Can't wait to see one of them. Why, every zoo in the country will want one. Oh no, groaned the baby dragon, hiding behind the rocks. Oh no, my family. Chapter 4, In the Cave. Now, how do you think he's going to save his parents? They're all trapped inside of a cave. All these men found them on the outside. There's no way out. What's the baby dragon going to do? Can you make a solution? Prediction? I wonder if there's anything that might help you. As the men went about packing up knapsacks and putting out the fire, the dragon carefully crept up the mountain slope. It's a good thing they don't know the cave does have another entrance, but I wonder if I can still squeeze through it. It was the tunnel through which he had gone when he ran away to go sit on a cloud. At that time, only he and his 2 youngest sisters were small enough to fit into it. Maybe, just maybe, I can still get through it. But I have grown a little bit. He hurried up the dry, rocky slope of the mountain, racing to get to the tunnel before the sun broke over the rim of the desert. I've got to rescue them, he thought frantically. Over the gap between the 2 snow-capped peaks, he galloped and then down into the beautiful green alpine meadow in the center of the mountain circle. Here, streams babbled down the slopes to the bottomless lake. Masses of wildflowers, butterfly weed, painted cup, all colors paraded down the brooksides. In the pastures, everywhere, there were giant snapdragon plants looking like bushes more like bushes than flowers. But the dragon did not have time to stop and gaze at his beautiful home in the great high mountains of Bloomland. Already, the sun was reaching over the horizon, lighting up the sky. I think over here, can you see? Here is the cave, and all the men are on the outside of the cave. Baby dragon is still hiding over here. Here it is, he panted, and he dove into a thick clump of snapdragons growing over the entrance to the small tunnel. Now, did you guys see that on the back page? You might have been wondering what it was. So do you see over here where there's that clump and there's a little tunnel just behind it? So I'm wondering, my question, good readers ask questions, is how does this tunnel connect to this tunnel? That's an interesting thing, huh? How would you think that would happen? Can you figure it out? He had seen the men across the lake guarding the cave with an enormous net. I wish I knew what they were planning to do next, he thought, but it's too late now. I'll have to wait until dark. He tried to pass into the tunnel, but the roots of the snapdragons had grown over the entrance, and dirt had washed it in from above. Dig carefully. They might notice the stir in the bushes, he warned himself as he cleared the way. At last he could fit into the hole, and he started the long trip through the tunnel. I might get stuck any moment, he groaned as the tunnel turned corners and gradually dug deeper into the side of the mountain, always only just big enough for him to squeeze through. On and on he crawled, and just when he thought he would surely get to the large part of the cave, he got stuck. He pushed and wiggled, but he could not get through. Tears rolled down his blue cheeks. I wanted so badly to see my family, he sniffed, but maybe they're near enough to hear me now. And he whispered, Father, are you there? Who's that? Asked a voice that sounded like his sister, Eustacia. It's Boris, called his mother. Oh, Boris, we thought we'd never see you again. Come into the cave. We're in terrible danger. You guys, who is Boris? We've not heard that before. The dragon's name is Boris. The baby dragon has a name. Boris. I know, said Boris the dragon, but I can't squeeze through this tunnel. Oh, I do wish I could. But listen, whatever you do, don't go near the main entrance of the cave. Many men are waiting there with an enormous net. I don't know yet what they plan to do with it, but I'll try to find out tonight if nothing happens before then. I think they're afraid to come in and get you. They don't know how harmless we really are. Anyway, keep calm. Count on me. I have a friend who may be able to help. And if you don't hear from me soon, it's because I've gone off to get him. Now I'll have to go back again. I must stay near the tunnel entrance so I can get out easily. I'll have a chance later. Goodbye, family. Goodbye. And Boris backed out for what seemed like hours and hours until he came out among the roots of the snapdragon bushes. He peered through the leaves across the lake and counted 16 men standing in a row outside of the cave. A breeze sprang up across the lake and carried their voices over the water to him. "They'll come out when they get hungry enough," said one man. "But how do you know they won't be fiercer when they're hungry and have been trapped for some time? Me, I'd rather go get in after them right now." "Going after them," said the third man. "Why, we don't even know anything about that cave. Suppose it has more entrances. The dragons may have escaped already. And what about pitfalls and rock slides in there? We ought to know more about this." "Nope, nope, nope. The thing to do is to leave 10 men here on guard and send the rest of the 6 of us to search for other entrances and to look for rock formations around here." "Good idea," said the man who had come down the mountain to the campfire. The wind changed, and the dragon could only hear confused sounds of talking, but the men seemed to be deciding who would stay and who would go. "They'll find me for sure if I stay here, and I don't want to trap myself," thought the dragon. "Daylight or no, I'd better fly and go get Elmer. He'll know what to do if I can get back in time." Quickly, he fitted the snapdragon roots over the tunnel hole, arranging them carefully so they wouldn't look newly dug up. Then, keeping close to the ground, he crept through the green meadows and up and up and up to the gap between the mountain peaks. He took one last look at the beautiful blue lake surrounded by the green meadows, and he felt quite sure that he hadn't been seen. And then he plunged down the rocky slope on the other side. Up in the air he flew, shielded from the eyes of the men by the circle of the mountains. So, who's going to help him? Did you figure that out? Had you made that prediction using your big brain? All right, we'll see you tomorrow.